Welcome to Star Chat, the podcast where we explore the wonders of the universe and bring you the latest updates from the world of space exploration. I'm your host, Carl, and I'm excited to share another episode with you today. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's dive right in. First up, there are some interesting developments in the private space sector. Chinese launch startup Space Epoch has secured B-round funding, which means they're moving forward with their plans for a first orbital launch and recovery attempt later this year. Their rocket, called Yuan Xingjingji-1, is designed to be reusable up to 20 times and has a payload capacity of 13,800 kilograms to a 200-kilometer orbit. That's impressive, and we'll be keeping an eye on their progress. In other news, United Launch Alliance's Vulcan rocket is facing some challenges after experiencing issues with the nozzle on one of its solid rocket boosters during a launch. The U.S. military is taking a cautious approach, and it's likely to be many months before the rocket flies again. We'll have to wait and see how this situation develops. Meanwhile, NASA's Space Launch System rocket has encountered another problem, which has required the removal of the rocket from its launch pad in Florida. A helium flow issue was detected, and the rocket has been rolled back to the vehicle assembly building. This means that the Artemis mission, which was scheduled for March, will likely be delayed until April. We've also got some updates on other launches, including a Falcon 9 mission scheduled for February 27 and an Alpha launch set for March 1. And, of course, we can't forget about the ongoing developments with SpaceX's Starlink constellation. There's always something new happening in the world of space exploration, and we're excited to share it all with you. We'll be right back with more fascinating space news on Star Chat. Welcome back to Star Chat, where we're exploring the wonders of the universe and the potential threats that lurk within it. Today, we're going to talk about a fascinating topic that has captured human imagination for centuries: asteroids. Those massive rocks floating in space have the power to shape our planet's history, and yet they remain somewhat mysterious. As we gaze up at the night sky, it's natural to wonder, what's out there? Are we alone, or are there other objects hurtling through space that could potentially collide with our planet? The answer is yes, there are thousands of near-Earth objects, or NEOs, orbiting the Sun, and some of them do pose a threat to our planet. But before we dive into the details, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Asteroids are remnants from the early days of our solar system, leftovers from the formation of the planets. They're like messengers from the past, carrying secrets about the origins of our cosmic neighborhood. Now, when it comes to the risk of asteroid impacts, the good news is that astronomers have been tracking these objects for decades, and they've identified about 35 NEOs with a more than 1 in a million chance of hitting Earth in the next 100 years. The even better news is that all of these asteroids are relatively small, less than 100 meters across, and most of them have extremely small chances of actually colliding with our planet. But here's the thing, we can't be sure that we detected every asteroid out there. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, except the haystack is the vastness of space, and the needle is a tiny rock that could potentially cause massive destruction. To calculate the proportion of asteroids we found, astronomers use 3 key figures: the number of asteroids discovered, the volume of sky searched, and the strength of our telescopes. Using these numbers, scientists estimate that we've spotted all the asteroids 10 kilometers across, or bigger, that could pose a danger to Earth. That's a relief, because it means we're unlikely to suffer the same fate as the dinosaurs. However, when it comes to smaller asteroids, the picture is less clear. We've detected about 80% of the asteroids that are 1 kilometer across, but for those that are 100 meters or smaller, we've only found less than half of them. These city killers are the ones that should concern us, because they could cause significant damage if they were to hit a populated area. So, what can we do to protect ourselves from these potential threats? Well, for starters, we have space telescopes like the upcoming NEO Surveyor, which will help us detect more asteroids and track their movements. We also have the technology to deflect or disrupt an asteroid's trajectory if we spot it early enough. In 2022, NASA's Double Asteroid Redirection Test, or DART, mission demonstrated that we can indeed move an asteroid off course. If we have sufficient warning time, which would be at least a couple of years, we should be able to shift an asteroid's trajectory and prevent a collision. Of course, if an asteroid were heading towards us and we failed to prevent it from hitting Earth, it would be a natural disaster, but a predictable one. We could evacuate the area, mitigate the damage, or shelter in place, just like we do for other natural disasters. So, to answer the question, is an asteroid impact inevitable? Probably not in our lifetimes, and certainly not in the near future. But instead of worrying about it, we can prepare by learning how to deal with natural disasters more generally, and letting astronomers keep their watchful eyes on the skies. Welcome back to Star Chat. Today, we've been exploring the wonders of the universe, from distant galaxies to the latest advancements in space technology. But as we often do on this show, we're going to take a step back and look at the human side of space exploration. A recent article caught my attention, and I'd like to share it with you. It's about the complexities of feeling inspired by space travel when there are pressing issues here on Earth. The article discusses the Apollo 11 moon landing and how it was received by the public back in 1969. While many people were indeed thrilled and felt a sense of unity and wonder, others were not so enthusiastic. Some felt that the money spent on the space program could have been better used to address poverty and social issues. In fact, civil rights leader Ralph Abernathy even led a protest at the Kennedy Space Center, highlighting the contrast between the technological advancements of the space race and the struggles faced by African American communities. Fast forward to today, and we're seeing similar sentiments expressed about NASA's Artemis program. With the government facing criticism for its handling of various issues, including scientific infrastructure and social justice, some people are questioning whether it's appropriate to feel excited about space exploration. The article quotes a planetary scientist who says that space exploration can be both a powerful force for unity and a reflection of our societal divisions. As I read through this article, I couldn't help but think about the importance of perspective. Space travel has a way of putting our problems into context, reminding us of our place in the universe, and yet, it's also true that we can't ignore the challenges we face here on Earth. Perhaps the key is to find a balance between looking up at the stars and working towards a better world down here. The article ends on a hopeful note, suggesting that even in the midst of division and uncertainty, we can find unity and purpose in our shared humanity. The author reflects on the courage and resilience of their community in Minneapolis, where people are coming together to support each other in the face of adversity. As we close out today's episode of Star Chat, I want to leave you with a similar sense of hope and wonder. Remember that space exploration is not just about the technology or the science, it's about the human spirit. It's about our capacity for curiosity, creativity, and connection. That's all for today's Star Chat. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and, until next time, remember to keep looking up at the stars.